Welcome to Football Conspiracies.
I'm Jared Cole.
And I'm Jared Rabinovich.
This week's episode, why are the Chicago Bears cursed? Before we start?
Yeah. Okay. Well, bring us the banter, baby.
All right. So, to start off, I got to tell you about this guy. So, this is recording before the 2025 NFL draft, okay? The Carolina Panthers have just signed a 6'9" guy out of Coastal Carolina at tight end before the NFL draft. So they got this college kid before the draft.
How?
How is a great question. This is his 5th year, so technically he's served his eligibility.
So he's like a free agent.
To be considered an undrafted free agent. Yes, exactly. So this guy, I should mention, the 6'9" guy, the reason his height is so important is because he's a basketball player. He's a power forward who has never played football, who has just been signed by the Carolina Panthers.
What do you mean he's never played? Like, he's never played a game of football?
No, he has never played any college football. He's never played high school football.
What was that GM of the Panthers thinking when he picked this guy up?
So there really isn't a whole lot about their decision around it, because, it's very unconventional.
You don't say.
Yeah, so I just want to give you a little context on how he is as a basketball player, because maybe it'll translate over to the NFL.
Is he, super aggressive?
He averaged 2.4 points and 2.7 rebounds in 31 games last year.
So he was a bad basketball player.
Yes.
And now he's going to be a unplayed football player on the Panthers.
According to Panthers head coach Dave Cannells and general manager Dan Morgan, this is part of the blueprint.
Bro, this is like Trump's concept of a plan. This is insane. And Dan Morgan, good luck keeping your job next year, bro. This is the decision that gets you fired.
The only thing I will add is that the power forward basketball position has translated over to the NFL as a tight end successfully in the past.
Sure.
This isn't like a one-time thing, maybe I'm throwing it off, but he is just throwing it off.
I understand the logic. I've definitely heard people make the argument, LeBron, if he wasn't a basketball player, he could be a fantastic football player. Sure. I could see that with, fantastic athletes can translate over in sports, especially if they have the right physique. But this guy is just, a washed college player who stayed there for 5 years and is now getting paid the minimum rookie contract probably.
Yeah, it didn't say in the article.
I mean, still getting paid way more than I get paid, so I can't really talk shit. But that's insane.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty good banter to bring to the beginning, because what the fuck?
No, that was some fantastic banter.
So if you're a power forward out there, just hit up the Panthers.
Yeah, they're hiring apparently. Hashtag open for work. Put on your LinkedIn page, everyone.
All right, so what do we have today? You said something about the Bears? Or I guess I said something about the Bears?
I think I texted you something about the Bears. The listeners weren't privy to that conversation, oddly enough. Unless anyone who works for the NSA out there, in which case, fuck off.
And it was really funny that you messaged me about a Chicago Bears episode today, because if you stayed till the end, I also had a Chicago Bears thing planned for today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just so happened to be for today.
That's totally unplanned.
No, so, welcome to the Bears episode.
Yeah, the listeners are getting some serendipity. This is really going to be the Bears episode, and what we're going to be talking about today is, why are the Bears cursed? Well, we're going to be trying to answer that question.
All right, let's hear it. Well, let's hear your fold, because I have a fold for later.
Okay, this is really the Cursed Bear episode. So, the world is full of uncertainty. If the past few years have not proven that, then surely the last few days alone have. This uncertainty leaks into all facets of life. And the NFL is no exception to that rule. However, Throughout my time studying professional football for this podcast, I've determined that, when it comes to the NFL, there are two unequivocal truths. These go beyond the boundaries of everyday minutiae, beyond the realm of everyday physics. These are ever-present, perpetual, enduring, dare I say, even loyal. These are so ironclad, so baked into the truth of our world, that even Immanuel Kant would not be able to help but label them as categorical imperatives. For all you philosophy heads out there.
Wow, this is like these truths must be insane.
They really are.
This baked into the NFL. And so essential to the NFL must these two truths be.
So what are these truths?
I don't know.
I mean, the first, at least, should be obvious. Self-evident, really. For anyone with even a passing knowledge of the NFL. And that's that the Dallas Cowboys fucking suck.
Yeah.
The second, well, maybe less obvious, is no less true. And that's that the Chicago Bears are cursed.
Yes.
Today's episode is going to be dedicated to the second of these truths. We are going to be digging into the question of why the Chicago Bears are cursed, and the theories people have conjured up to help explain this. For a little background information for those who don't know, the Chicago Bears, at some point, were one of the most successful football teams of all time. They technically still are, actually, having the second most National Football League championships of all time, trailing only the Green Bay Packers. Did you know that? They're technically the second most successful football team of all time.
Really? I thought the Patriots I guess they're third probably on that list.
Well, let's get a little bit further into it to explain why that's less impressive than it appears on the surface. Only one of those championships came during the Super Bowl era, meaning the team has long since fallen from its former days of glory.
You went for the National Football League championship. I see. That's
you got tricked.
Semantics.
Yes, exactly. It has long been said that Chicago sports teams as a whole are cursed. And while some of the curses have been broken in recent years, it's difficult to contend with the horrible sports legacy in the city. One of those curses that has still not been broken is the Chicago Bears. They have been, and remain to be, complete dog shit. But why is this? Bears fans have been attempting to answer this for years, and today, I hope we can finally nail down the answer to this age-old question. The theory we'll be going over first is the Honey Bears curse. First things first, J. Cole. I literally have to text you to ask if this was like in the pipeline for you, because I have no idea how you haven't spoken about this one before. It is directly up your alley. Like, this is the most classic, like, J. Cole football conspiracies curse I've ever heard.
I think I might have come across it, but I don't know if I can put any words to it, you know?
That's totally fair, because it is silly and stupid and has no consequence on the NFL as a whole, except maybe the Chicago Bears.
Well, yeah.
This story begins in 1977. J. Cole, do you have any idea what was so important about the NFL in 1977 and the years preceding it?
No, I don't know what you're going to get at here, so I'm going to go with no.
That's totally fair, and I think a lot of people are likely thinking, like, oh, isn't this the early days of the NFL-AFL merger? It must have something to do with that. And that is a perfectly logical thing to think. But this is football conspiracies, and we're not here to speak about the most logical thing to think. What was so important about 1977 and the years preceding it is that these were the first years of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Of course.
Of course. I mean, two truths.
How would you not be able to pull that one out of your ass?
Yeah,
Come on.
Exactly.
So, J. Cole, you have any idea how the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders might play into the decades-long curse that has plagued the Chicago Bears?
I have no clue.
This
is so random.
Yeah, it definitely is, but this one actually lines up. Following the massive success of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, who became the team's official cheer squad in 1972, other teams want to capitalize on this momentum. In 1977, the legendary Bears owner, George Halas Sr., also known as Papa Bear, decided to get a cheer squad of his own, which he fittingly dubbed the Honey Bears. Quick aside, and this is just a fun fact about Halas Sr., is that he also doubled as the Bears head coach in 4 different spells. Like, he was owner and head coach 4 different times.
That's insane.
Yeah. I've never heard of that
wild.
before. All this is, like, early days football.
Yeah, this is 1977, so, I mean...
And he was wildly successful. They won 8
Yeah?
NFL championships.
How many did he win, though, as coach?
I don't
and
know the
manager?
exact number, but I know he won multiple as head coach.
Okay, that's
Yes.
pretty good.
No, it's impressive. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Since 1967, the year of the NFL-AFL merger, and the start of the Super Bowl era, the Bears had failed to secure a playoff spot. So that's pretty bad coming off of their, like, complete dominance before that, being the second best team of all time before that. And still to this day, technically. But can you guess what happened in 1977?
I'm going to guess it has something to do with the Honey Bears.
You'd be right. Not only were the Honey Bears introduced to the public for the first time, the Bears also made it to the playoffs for the first time in modern football history.
Boom.
Well, they did lose in the divisional round to none other than the Dallas Cowboys. This was huge progress for them. After over 10 years of not getting a lick of the playoffs, actually in those preceding 10 years, they only got a winning record 1 time, and it was in the 1967 year. They finally made it back to the playoffs. This is a big deal for the Bears.
Yeah.
The seeds of the team's downfall, though, were sowed in 1983, the same year as George Halas Sr.'s death. While he was alive, Halas Sr. promised the Honey Bears would always be around. As a matter of fact, here is a direct quote from Halas Sr. himself.
As long as I'm alive, we will have dancing girls on the sidelines.
This is indeed an insanely sexist thing to say. But
yeah.
I feel
Now
like,
I'm quoted as saying that. Someone could fully take that out of context.
100%, and I plan to.
Thank you.
But, I mean, can we really expect any better from, like, a man who literally went by the moniker Papa Bear?
Yeah,
Like,
that's a little sketchy on itself.
exactly. Like, I get it. Like, he's the owner of the Bears. He's Papa Bear. But, like, come on, Papa Bear has his honey bears. It's... I get it's the 80s, but I don't think that's an excuse. I just think it means the 80s were sexist, you know?
Yeah, that's nothing new.
Definitely not. So, when Papa Bear passed away, and the team was inherited by his daughter, Virginia Halas McCaskey, the Honey Bears officially became an endangered species. McCaskey believed that a cheerleading squad was embarrassing and sexist, and she wanted rid of them immediately. She's...
Very right, based off of that quote.
I mean, this era of cheer squad where it really was, like, pretty girls, scantily clad, dancing around the sideline, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Nowadays, where cheerleaders are, like,
Actual
top-level
like,
athletes, yeah. That's a stupid thing to think. Embarrassing and sexist is a stupid thing to think about modern-day cheerleaders, but the cheerleaders, the Honey Bears at least, I think were more on the former than the latter of these 2 types of cheerleaders.
Yeah, for sure.
That being said, I have no issue with it either way.
Yeah, I mean...
Get your fucking bag.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to do it, they do it,
Absolutely.
You know?
Either way, this is the belief of Virginia Halas McCaskey. So, she tried to get rid of them in 1983, the year she took over the team, but realized that the Bears had a binding contract with the cheer squad until the end of the 1985 season. So, can you guess what happened to the Chicago Bears in the 1985 season?
So, the last year of the squad,
The last year of the Honey Bears.
they won it all. They had to have.
They went 15-1 in the regular season, going on to win the Super Bowl.
There you go.
Are absolutely right.
That's how you honor the Honey Bears. You give them a win.
Absolutely. And this is the first Super Bowl win the Bears have ever gotten. Like, this is crazy. And after winning their season, McCaskey chose to end the Bears' contract with the cheer squad, forever bringing an end to the Honey Bears.
Womp womp.
Maybe not forever, but certainly up until now. Following the 1985 season, the Bears have failed to win another Super Bowl since. They did manage to make it once more in 2006, but it seems like they could not manage to pull out a win against the Colts without the Honey Bears there to cheer them on. This is the story of the Honey Bear curse. So, How would you rate the believability of this one?
Believability is a 10 only because it has the stupidest, easiest solution I could possibly ever imagine. Like, just thinking here, the second you said, like, you finished your thing, I was like, boom, there it is.
Which is?
Every team has a cheer squad now. Like, every team.
Yes, that's true.
So why don't the Chicago Bears just rename their cheer squad the Honey Bears?
Wait, that's actually a great
That's
point.
it. That's all they have to do.
I wasn't even thinking about
That's
that.
literally how you end this curse, is you just rename the cheer squad the Honey Bears.
Bro, quit this podcast, go become the GM, make some fucking decisions. You could bring them a win immediately.
I mean, I've given them the information through this podcast, and if they use it, that's on them.
If they use it, I expect both of us to get contracts and bonuses for winning. Just putting that out there. Chicago Bears.
Yeah, but does that not sound like the only logical thing to do?
No, I mean, absolutely. Like, you're very right. I don't know why I didn't think of it myself. I kind of feel like an idiot, to be honest. I feel like you're putting me on blast here, but
I was trying not to, but you did it to yourself.
I really did do it to myself. Regardless, we expect royalty, Chicago Bears. Do not do this without our goddamn permission. You can email us at footballconspiracies@gmail.com.
FBconspiracies@gmail.com.
FBconspiracies@gmail.com. Forgetting our own goddamn email address. I'm so hyped about this idea.
It was just that good.
And I need to say I get royalties because the last time I gave a company an idea, they fucked me. When
We've gone over this. It's in the end segment of another episode.
We told them the story.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Nestle. I know there's reasons to fuck Nestle for other than the fact that they stole a chocolate bar idea from me, but fuck them for the chocolate bar idea. All right, now that we're done with our bit of ranting there, let's move on to the second theory as to why the Chicago Bears are cursed. This one actually has a very familiar cast of characters. This is the story of how an alleged case of kinslaying and or some shady inheritance rights could be the reason the Bears have failed to secure a second Super Bowl win.
Just to clarify, did you say king or kin?
Kinslaying. There's no king involved.
I was like, yo, hold up.
No, this is not like a fantasy novel. No,
Well, there are kings in our world right now. You know that, right?
I understand that, but like, when was the last time a king was slayed? Oh, kind of recently, actually. You know what? Japan aside, we have not seen any shit like that recently. All right, so there are two sides to this story. The entertaining and almost certainly untrue one, and the mind-numbing one that is backed up by a significant amount of evidence. Kind of sounds like the real world.
Yeah, I mean,
This is just...
unfortunately, that's the one.
Yeah, this is some classic stuff.
Yeah.
So let's start with the entertaining one. Before the death of George Papa Bear Halas, it was understood that ownership of the team would be inherited by his son, George Halas Jr., who regretfully did not go by Baby Bear. Unfortunately, Halas Jr. passed away from a heart attack in 1979, 4 years prior to the death of his father. This meant, upon Halas Sr.'s death in 1983, his daughter, Virginia Halas McCaskey, became the owner of the Chicago Bears, like we went over previously. Because of this series of events, there has long been rumors, with absolutely zero evidence, substantive or not, that McCaskey was somehow responsible for the death of her brother, as this was the only way she could secure ownership of the team for herself. Entertaining, right?
Yeah, that's insane.
Also a huge nothing burger.
Obviously, she didn't kill her brother, but I mean, technically, she could have.
I guess technically she could have.
There you go. It's not a 0% chance that this didn't happen.
I've never heard a more, non-committal statement than that, but yes, you're right. Technically, she could have.
I mean, I don't know.
Immediately what I thought is that this is the sort of story that's the saying all sizzle and no steak was invented for. It's entertaining, for sure.
Yeah, it's a good story.
We see the motive.
Oh, there's very clear motive.
The mens rea is there. The actus rea, absolutely fucking not. But how about the unentertaining side of the story?
Boo.
The one with a ton of evidence. I know. first things first, and I feel it from J. Cole. I know the booing is real. You guys are probably booing at me over, like, at your radios
All
or
right,
in your
everyone,
headphones.
everyone boo on the count of
I
three.
know.
1, 2, 3, boo.
I feel the psychic energy, and just to get that off my chest, I want to say that I will be spending very little time on this, as it is, and I'm trying to put this generously, fucking boring. It's mind-numbing. But if you do want to read more about it, because you're just an absolute disgusting sadist,
Like yourself.
or sorry, disgusting masochist,
Like yourself.
calm down. You can check out Dan H. or at Windy City Critic on Twitter/X, as he laid out a very convincing case with this story. Pretty much because of the death of her brother and some of the other deal-making in the past, when Halas Sr. died, McCaskey was left with a large ownership share in the team. Conveniently for her, she was also the executor of Halas Sr.'s will. Because of this, McCaskey was able to reorganize the ownership, and in doing so, devalued the Halas grandchildren's stocks, causing them to lose representation on the board. For anyone who likes the nitty-gritty, she took the Halas grandchildren's stocks from Series A stocks to Series C stocks, which is like a massive dilution of their ownership, similar to what Mark Zuckerberg did to Andrew Garfield's character in The Social Network. In response to this, the Halas grandchildren sued. And they won.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
that's just like...
They won a pretty clear-cut case. However, this was merely a symbolic victory, as McCaskey was found liable for breaching her responsibilities as the executor of her father's will, but the Halas grandchildren were given no compensation.
Well, it's not just they were given no compensation. Their Series A stock stayed Series A instead of going down to Series C.
They stayed Series C stocks. They got fucked.
Oh, shit.
Yes. Everything that McCaskey did stayed. And all that they got was a legal ruling that said, oh, no, like, you're right. We know we're not giving you any money for it, but, like, you're right. We promise. Crazy.
Damn.
Somewhere in this legal mess, there was also a lawsuit that accused the Chicago Fire and Police Departments of overlooking the possibility that Halas Sr. was killed. This is totally unimportant, complete digression, but I thought it added some nice texture to this story.
Yeah, that's crazy. Why would they kill the owner of the Chicago Bears?
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't have done anything sketchy.
Yeah.
Nothing sketchy happened in Chicago in the 80s.
Yeah, and I wonder
Fact.
who they were, you know?
Yeah, it's a good question.
They killed him. Who's they?
Who's they?
That's the conspiracy we should be going in on.
Exactly. Like, we can look more into the death of George Halas, because there actually is some sketchiness here and, like, a really contentious lawsuit. That being said, it has literally nothing to do with the story. I just know I need to get a bit away from the fact that we're talking about, like, a legal battle and stock options. So
I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm listening to an episode of Succession.
that's, you know what? I take that as a huge compliment. Without, like, a psychosexual fantasy going on between, like, a 70 and a 20-year-old. Regardless, to end this off, we will now quote from Dan H. himself to explain how this whole situation turned out after all of the lawfare.
The grandkids were forced to sell the stock to the McCaskies for $17 million. The Bears are now worth $5.8 billion. The Halas stock would be worth $1.6 billion. 2 years later, the McCaskies sold the Halas stock for $30 million. The family made 76% profit off the Halas stock. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So this is the story of, like, definitely the Halas grandkids getting absolutely fucked. Like, this sucks. That being said, also some horrible investment decisions
talk
made
about
by
selling
McCaskey.
at the wrong time.
And McCaskey actually passed away in February of this year. This was very recent. So, well, she did continue to be the owner of the team up until her death. She obviously could have had a larger
more.
chunk and a lot more money. But you know what? What is, like, an extra $1.6 billion when you already have $3 billion? If you have an unlimited amount of money, more unlimited money isn't going to do anything for you.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Once you make that much money, you should start giving it away.
You don't say.
I don't know. That's a little...
Hot take.
Sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I'll take it.
Come on, not in this world.
Yeah, but like, I don't know why anyone would ever sell a sports team. I've never seen, the only time I've ever seen a sports team devalued was the Chicago White Sox after last season, and I think they're going to be devalued again.
Well, yeah, but like, I've never seen a team suck so bad.
Yeah, no, that was like next level sucking.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chicago.
It's, yeah, like you're Chicago's, yeah, like it sucks, exactly. That being said, you got to cash out at some point, you know? If you hold on to an investment forever, you're just Smaug sitting on his pile of gold, you know?
That is true.
At some point, you got to get that juicy $3 billion you're sitting on. And personally, once it's valued at that much money, I was out years ago.
Yeah, apparently.
I was out yesterday. So, you're probably wondering now, how the hell does this have to do with the Bears being cursed? Like, that's what we were talking about, and we haven't gotten back to that for ages.
Yeah, no.
Some people theorize that McCaskey killing her brother, or if you're someone who is a fan of legal drama and also who believes in curses, whatever that weird Venn diagram of people are.
I don't know, I'm in it.
So either her killing her brother or her screwing over her cousins, that could be the reason why the Bears are cursed.
Ooh, because they got all these, like, unsolved mysteries going on over here.
Well, I think it's more of like a
I'm still stuck on the murder.
That's so fair. And we'll get more into that in another episode, clearly, because J. Cole is entranced. But this is more of like I think the idea behind this is like a karmic slap in the face sort of deal, you know? Like, what goes around comes around. You killed your brother. You don't want to... You suck. Your team sucks, you know? But it's still worth billions of dollars. So, I mean...
So now that she's dead, maybe that was the end of the curse because she died.
We will be entering the first season
I hate
McCaskey
saying that, but
we'll see. So, how do you rate the believability of this one?
10.
10. This is more believable than the Honey Bears, or equally as believable as the Honey Bears.
This is equally as believable as the Honey Bears. They deserve their... Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to say 7.
And why is that?
Well, because it's more of a money thing. And, like, sure, that's, like, important. It's, like, not really.
Well, they made their money.
Well, yes, everyone got money.
Well, not the Hal's grandkids.
Well, yeah. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, there's a 10. The Chicago Bears are cursed for what they did to Hallis's grandchildren. And, like, who is this chick that she gets to control? Like, she only, like, a half-sibling?
Hallis's daughter.
Yeah, exactly. So wouldn't those be, like, her, like... nieces and nephews, or is this like a half family sort of thing? We need to go into this Hallis family bullshit.
We definitely do, because I'm gonna be honest, I started looking into this and there was like pie charts and graphs explaining the ownership breakdown of the team in the 80s and how it changed and family trees, and I just could not be fucking bothered because that was too much effort for like a portion of an episode.
Yeah,
so,
no, for sure. But
one day we could dedicate a full episode to this or a full end segment, whatever it is, but like for the purposes of this, I was simply not breaking down the genealogy. Like, I felt like I was going to have to get McCaskey to do, like, a fucking 23andMe, and that just wasn't happening.
Well, before they go out of business, that is.
Yeah, I mean, RIP. And a quick tip for anyone out there, go to them and request that they destroy your DNA samples if you ever did that, because if they don't, they're going to sell that DNA to someone, and some random motherfucker is going to own your saliva. So,
yeah.
Quick tip to everyone around there who did 23andMe. David.
Oh my god.
Alright, now that I have directly called out one of our good friends, I think it's time to burst your bubble too.
Aww.
And explain to you why I think this curse is the biggest dud ever.
Oof.
Especially about the one especially the one about McCaskey killing her brother, which is the entertaining one. After all, the Bears literally won their one and only Super Bowl while under the ownership of McCaskey.
I forgot about that. We were so caught up in this, I forgot that
exactly.
she was
the owner in 1983. They won in 1985. So, like, yes, I understand that their glory days were really under Hallis Sr., but it seems weird to curse someone by giving them a Super Bowl and then a bad performance for decades. Like, to me, a Super Bowl with, like, of any kind, it kind of precludes the possibility of a curse, especially when that comes on top of your ownership shares being valued by, like, thousands of more percent and becoming a billionaire in the process.
Yeah, I take back my second rating of a 7 and downgrade it to a 0 because you can't be cursed if you've won a Super Bowl. That just doesn't work.
I completely agree.
The Honey Bears curse makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Like there is a direct correlation, like obvious direct correlation.
I was pretty hyped about the Honey Bears when I read it. I was like, this one makes sense.
Yeah,
this is a good curse.
That's great.
That's some good narrative.
The second one, yeah, you're not cursed. Sorry.
So I do.
Well, you are, but not because of this.
Definitely not because of this. And I'm glad that that you ended up finding that what I thought was going to be super boring to be a little more entertaining than I thought. It is some good family drama.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm currently watching Succession, so family drama revolving like shares of a company, like it's right there.
I guess you're right. Like maybe we're going to be starting a new podcast about the Halas family because like we got some content there.
Honestly, look out for it.
Yeah, look out.
It might be coming.
Halas conspiracies. So, I do have one final explanation. And I know J. Cole isn't going to like this one. Though the skeptic in me definitely tells me that this is the correct answer. And that is that the team has been horribly managed for years and there's no curse at all. This is the plain and simple explanation that I know the listeners didn't come here to hear. However, I would not be doing my job as an NFL conspiracy debunker if I did not share with the audience what I believe to be the correct answer.
Can I just say that is a total cop-out and it doesn't work because they're cursed with bad management.
You could say that.
I just did.
Sure. No. I can't take that away from you.
It's right there.
I'm not going to take that away from you, but I will say that I don't think the bad management is necessarily a curse, and I just think that they have shitty management. And maybe new ownership will change that. Likely it won't. Chicago does not know how to manage a sports team to save their fucking lives. I apologize for this anticlimax, but this is the exact sort of thing I'm sure a lot of faithful listeners have come to expect from me. If you want a dose of fantasism, I'm not your man. Luckily, my co-host J. Cole most certainly is.
Yeah, and I'm not even going to give you that little music bit. I'm just going to jump right into my end segment because it's about the Chicago Bears and it works so perfectly.
I fucking love it.
Yeah,
that's great.
You know,
amazing.
So this is more has to do with the Chicago Bears being cursed this year. Like, why they sucked in 2024, 2025, rather than why they're a bad team overall.
Okay.
But still.
And this has nothing to do with the fact that the Honey Bears ain't there anymore.
This has nothing to do with the Honey Bears, okay? This has to do with one TV show.
Oh, you're going to be I know exactly what you're going to be talking about.
Today, we're going to be talking about Hard Knocks.
Of course we are. The Hard Knocks curse.
So, the most recent season that came out before the 2024-2025 season, they featured an off-season and then a training camp. So, the training camp that they featured was none other than the Chicago Bears.
For those who aren't familiar, Hard Knocks is a show that focuses on a specific team within the NFL and follows them throughout a season.
Well, they do different teams for different sections. So they got a section for the off season, the training camp, and then for the full regular season. For the off season, they had the New York Giants, but we're not going to talk about them, even though they're obviously cursed too.
Well, yeah, certainly cursed.
Yeah, and then we're going to be talking about the training camp Chicago Bears. All right, so for the listeners and for you, Jared, I'm about to lay out what the Hard Knocks curse like officially is for those who want to know, because that's what you're here for. The history of Hard Knocks participants suggests pitfalls on the road to the Super Bowl.
Okay, understood.
So they'll have a tough time making the playoffs.
But they'll make it.
And if they do make the playoffs, they are not going far. Okay?
For sure.
All right, so notably, I will say that it is pretty funny that one of the few teams to make it to the postseason, like, one of the very few teams to make it to the postseason was the 2010 New York Jets.
I mean, okay.
But since then, of the 21 teams to be singularly featured on Hard Knocks, because sometimes Hard Knocks does a thing where they'll do a whole conference, of the 21 teams to singularly be featured, 14 of them have missed the playoffs, and none of them have won a Super Bowl.
That's some shitty statistics, for sure.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's
like the overview of the Hard Knocks curse.
Of the Hard Knocks curse. But this year, the Chicago Bears were the ones to take the gunshot because they were the ones to be featured. Although you could also argue that the Giants were also featured, but...
I mean, they also took the fucking gunshot, so...
Yeah, the Giants were already cursed. They were already bad. But if you look at the Chicago Bears season specifically, it just felt cursed. Like, they started off 4-0 under Caleb Williams. They felt so good. They looked so confident. Bears fans had never been more hyped just to lose, what was it, the next 11 games in a row.
It was a devastating season.
Yeah. One of the main articles I used for finding it is why Caleb Williams shouldn't fear the Hard Knocks curse. Obviously, he should.
I mean, yeah, like, as we have now seen.
But this website that I took it from, they had their own takes on the Hard Knocks curse. Their take on the Hard Knocks curse was that if you are featured on Hard Knocks, your win total is under what the Vegas lines project.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Just you're going to do worse than you were expected to.
Yes, exactly. Although I don't know why this website would go for that, because they're nine have gone over, 8 have gone under, and 1 has pushed.
So it's literally the opposite of what they're saying.
Basically the opposite of what this article is trying to get at.
Like, that is like the perfect statistical sample to show, like, oh, it's actually completely random and there's no curse.
Yeah, well, there you go. Now you have some information on that. But I will say that the 2010 Jets were also over, which, hilarious.
Yeah, I mean...
Of course the Jets would be the one to break the Hard Knocks curse. Like, what? But yeah, that's why the Bears suck, is because this curse is 100% totally real.
Another interesting thing I read when I was doing research for this episode, like, a lot of stuff was coming up about Hard Knocks, and one thing that they mentioned on it is that the Bears players didn't curse, like, did not swear during this season out of respect to McCaskey, like the owner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I thought it was super weird. But, I mean, good polite boys over there down at the Bears.
Maybe if they don't curse, then they won't be cursed.
I hear people in Chicago don't swear at all, so it was just going along with that, you know?
Yeah.
Right at home. Thank you for listening to this week's episode.
If you enjoyed, please consider telling a friend or leaving a 5-star review. It really helps to grow the podcast.
You can also reach us by email at fbconspiracies@gmail.com.
A special thanks to Blaze for the music.
Join us next time for more football conspiracies. At this point, yeah.